Hey creative friends, welcome to Tracibautistacolor. I wanted to do a little bit of swatching with some of the new Wander collection pigment bars. So these are made with organic plant waxes and pigments, earth pigments, some mica, but most of them are pure pigments, and they lay down beautifully. This is just a few of the samples on the Strathmore 500 series mixed media journal, and I thought that I would swatch them out also on this handmade watercolor paper, just to show you how they look on a textured surface too. So they're beautiful, really creamy, and can be mixed when you paint with them. So you can see when they layer, you can mix the colors. You can also use, some of them have kind of the blender bar side, so it's a clear color, and then you can blend out and mix the colors if you want to do it that way. But look at the range that you can get if you do blend the colors together. We'll do a little bit of there's a couple of different browns. So this entire set is landscape inspired. Really pretty. This has most of these pigments I imported from France, and I'm loving the variety of color you can get. And then I have some that are more like glazes. So this one has more of a little tint of that beautiful green color, and you can see how you can use these for landscape inspired work, and they just mix beautifully together. So let's do a little of the lighter blue. So when they are duotone like this, one side is usually darker, and then you can turn over and use it on the other side to get a more of a lighter or a glaze. Let's see, did I do this one already? I don't know if I did. And then some of them, because of the way that I layer in the color, they will give you this variegated line. So if you look at the side of the pigment bars, you can see, let's see if I have another. There's one that, like, one of these has 3 colors in it, like this one. So if I were to use it, you can see there's like a little shift there. So if I use this way, you get like all 3 of those colors in one. And then I could take one of the blender bars and blend them together also if I use it that way. So you can use these underneath or on top of my water media, my watercolors, and my inks, but you can also use them over and with oil paint. And maybe I'll go grab one of my paintings that's drying so you can kind of see. But I wanted just to show you how these colors mix. There's 2 or 3 different yellows. So if you look at the side, you can kind of see. This one I'm loving. It's like a gray yellow. It's really, really pretty. Let's see what it looks like mixed with the pink. There we go. So that's on this beautiful handmade paper that I bought in France at the Sennelier store. And then let's just do a couple more on here. Actually, I'm just going to put this journal here so you can see this. So this is mixed media paper by Strathmore. And some of the colors, they just are so highly pigmented that you get a lot of pigment that comes down. So if you just use the blender bar on the side, you can see how you can drag a lot of that through. Let's do one of the green. Oh, I just did that one. Let's do one of the browns on there. I really love the mixture of those two together. And then I should do one with the yellow. Let's do a little yellow with that. So I just wanted to show you how these look. The pink is really, really pretty too. And let's see, I've got a couple of blues in this. There's a few more colors. I just grabbed some of these that were drying and wanted to give you a quick little demo of some of these colors. But I love that they're duo color, so you get a lot of pigment on there, and they last a really long time. You can mix them with oil painting mediums. You can use them as a resist under water soluble mediums, and they look awesome over the top of other paintings. I'm going to grab one of my oil paintings. So I have a few that are just drying. These are some of my experiments with the Williamsburg oil and a little bit of their wax medium. You can see I scribbled in some of the pigment bars in this one, and in underneath, some of the color underneath the brown was mixed in with some oils, and also drew on top of some of these little thumbnail sketches. So I'm working on a new body of work that's all abstract landscape inspired, and I've been having a lot of fun playing with the oil paints, but the pigment bars also work great over the top. So I'm doing these experiments on Canson XL sandpaper, sand grain paper, which is not oil paper. But because I'm working so fast and I just want to experiment, I am using this paper to do some of my mark making and just playing so that I can see what I want to create, and just kind of get a feel for how the paints dry and how they react. So on this one, these are my pigment bars here. These, oh, you can't see that bottom third right there. Let me move this out of the way. So underneath is a base of Williamsburg oil and some of my pigment bars. This is my pigment bar. This is an oil pastel right there. This is luminance pencil. So it's got oil. It's like an oil-based pencil. And then this down here is Prismacolor, which is also oil-based pencil. So once everything dries, you can layer all of these on top. So I am just gonna see how some of these work on here and if they pop. So some of the colors may look a little bit more subdued, and that's because they don't have a like titanium white in them, because if they did, then they would pop off of the top of them. But when you get off the top of the paint, but when you get into some of these other colors, you can see they work beautifully over the top of these paints. This one, so pretty. This is that gray, that yellow gray color. I'm really loving this one. Let's see, this is blue, so I don't think that's really gonna show up very well. Let's see if this darker brown color. So again, this is working on top of oil paint. Let's do this on the lighter area over here. So you can make these really beautiful glaze colors. So there's a green. Where did that little green go? It's not that one. Oh, here it is. So this has this light green. Let's see if we can just get a little glaze of it on something. I don't think you're going to see it very well in that. but I can put it on the edge here, which is really pretty. And maybe add in more of the darker color. And then I can take the bottom of my brushes too and just do a little mark making over these just to add some design in there. So that, I just want to show you how creamy and rich they are over the oil paint. So I'll let those sit, and I may paint over these again. And let me show you one other thing. Let's see if I have some watercolor. So I have some watercolor here, just some random marks that I made. And I want to show you what they look like over watercolor and ink. So the great thing about them too is that if you, depending on how you hold them, you can get a really thin line, or you can get a nice thick line using it that way. If I hold it this way, let's see if I have a, you can see I can get a really, really thick line. So if I want to work really big, I can get that too. And then I can kind of smudge them too and mix the colors. So I can add in that light green color, so pretty, and just start to make some really beautiful backgrounds. So you can see lots of different ways that you can use these. So that's on top of the water media, and then you can also use it as a resist. So just wanted to show you the variations, but I do love this too, where you can really do some beautiful abstract mark making with them and then just kind of rub them in. That's why I wear a glove usually when I use them. If I'm just making a couple of quick marks, I might not have a glove on, but most of the time I paint with gloves on now, at least with one hand. When I'm oil painting, I use both hands, but you can use them with acrylic paints too. I suggest using them with acrylic paints that have like a matte medium in them, or super matte medium. So here's some of my pigment bars right here. See if you can see this. This was a little 5-minute, these are 2 little 5-minute sketches. Oop, I just moved the camera around. And some of those are from my previous collections. But you can see, you can do some really fun mark making with them. So just to recap, I've got some of the beautiful colors there in Strathmore Mixed Media paper, so you could just see them in more of like a smoother paper. So you can see I can really make this a beautiful tint of that color too by just spreading it out, and how fun it is to mix these together too. I love mixing the colors together. And then over oil paint and a bunch of other mixed media that's in here that I shared. And then on some textured handmade paper. So in my previous video, I also shared the swatches of some of the other colors in the collection. So some of the inks and some of the gouache paints, and you can see some of the bars layered over the top of these swatches also. So beautiful landscape inspired collection of pigment bars, water media, and handcrafted watercolors. I hope you enjoyed a peek into the creative process and swatching out of the new Wander collection by Tracibautistacolor. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.